Okay, so Alan is a retired 35-year town foreman. He was responsible for and oversaw all the day-to-day operations and maintenance with the town of AWWOA and Saskatchewan. So he not only was solely responsible for the water and wastewater aspects of the town, but all other operational maintenance as well, which I could think a lot of you can relate to. You have to wear a lot of hats as operators in towns. He was very passionate about a clean town and with all the operations within it. He's very diligent in maintaining a smooth operating wastewater and water system. So Alan still retains his certification as an wastewater and water operator and continues to consult for and assist the town of Alameda and numerous other communities around his area, even though that he is now retired. So he also operates another company for roto rooting and equipment. So he has a lot of knowledge and background in a lot of different areas. And so we welcome Alan. Thank you, Alan, for coming on board and sharing.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, feel free to go ahead. I'm going to move you to the next slide here. Just let me know every time you want a new slide.
Yes, Alameda has a population of 400, as you can see, and we have one lift station and a 2-cell lagoon. And of course, in 1985, when I started, we had some issues, you know, at our lagoon, of course, that we had to try and solve. And one of the issues was, of course, we were losing capacity, and we looked at dredging. And of course, dredging, you have to have a drying cell. And of course, trying to get the land from the property owner adjacent to the lagoon is sometimes pretty difficult, which we had, and to get a big enough area to make a drying cell to put this stuff in. And of course, we were, you know, button heads with the landowner, and so we started looking around at what else we could do. And of course, what else we could do was we had got a hold of a company at the time, which was Act Design, and seeing what they could help us with. And they said, well, we think we could help you quite a bit, which they did. So what we did was got on a program of putting the enzymes down. And of course, 35 years ago, that's Act Design has even come a long way since then. We went on it took a couple-year program. When we first went out there with a boat, we looked at the schematics of the lagoon, and of course we knew our incoming flow, the pipe, there was actually a cement pad there. Well, we were trying to find that cement pad, which we could tell that there was quite a bit of matter and buildup in front of that pipe. And of course, the bottom of the lagoon, which of course, what ends up happening is you're losing, capacity in your lagoon. And so we had to find some way to try and better this. Another thing, when we got on this program, we it took probably, with a small town like this, and we trying to figure out how much product we were going to need at the time. We hit it with high doses of AZ, because that AZ was the only thing at the time. And it probably over a 3-year period, we went back out there, and lo and behold, geez, that cement pad was there, and there was nothing on top of it. So anyways, it was just amazing as far as the lagoon part, how it cleaned it up. And our lagoon was built in 1963, and to this date, it's never had to be dredged. Did you want to change the slide, Jonathan?
Betcha.
Our current lift station was built in 1993. Of course, it's like a lot of town lift stations. It has a wet and dry cell. At the time, we use flight pumps. It don't really matter what pumps you use. You always get that buildup of fat and everything else inside your lift. And we wanted some way of cleaning this up and making it less time consuming. I'm trying to, and of course, me being basically the main guy in town here, it was always myself getting calls because something would be down and it might be away from home that day, and you make a trip back and trying to get things all running again smoothly. And of course, you'd go down to the lift, and sure enough, there'd be a big chunk of fat that would get bound up in the pump or plug a line, and you'd be dealing with it for hours trying to get things going. And of course, we started using enzymes upstream from the lift station to break this stuff down, and it definitely made quite a difference. Hardly ever got the same, calls of it being down, and yeah, it just made such a difference to the whole workings. Another thing, what I really noticed with is the pump down times with the lift station. Pump down times mean a lot because when you do have big rains or something like that, you want that flow going real out to the lagoon really good, because you got more effluent, of course, coming in. And what I did notice after a period of time of using Octazyme was it was cleaning out that line going to the lagoon, so there was less resistance on them pumps. So less resistance on them pumps means them pumps are running at a lot better capacity. And of course, them pumps aren't cheap, just like maybe everybody was listening to William. Replacing them pumps, every so many years, or having them get rebuilt are a lot of money. And if you can keep things going smoothly and the pumps running smoothly, well, they definitely last a lot longer. Go ahead, Jonathan. Yeah, we have an abattoir outside of town. The abattoir itself slaughters quite a few beef every week. Years back, when I started with the town, they put through quite a few beef actually, and from there the beef is brought into town and all cut and trimmed and cut and wrapped in our butcher shop, and it's right on our main street in town. Of course, we all know what happens when you cutting meat. All that fat and deposits get washed down the line, and I mean all their equipment gets washed down nightly. And we started having issues with our line on our main street blocking and getting because of buildup of this fat. So we started going a block upstream and putting Actazyme down the manhole on a weekly basis to cut this all down. And it was just amazing because we do get our lines. We have a program every year of getting them cleaned, and we have a company come in here into town, and they jet our lines. and they would run into this stuff, and they were just amazed, you know, on how bad this line was. And of course, whenever your line does, when you have your main problems, it's usually in the winter time, and it's about 30 below, and you're trying to get this line going. And after going on a program of putting enzymes down this line, we over extended period, we just noticed it getting better and better. And then when we would get it clean, they just couldn't believe it was the same line, because it was didn't have that build up anymore. Go ahead, Jonathan. Back to the lagoon, I kind of talked about it more. It was built in 1963, and it's never been dredged to this day. I do go I put Actizyme down the last, I forget how many years. I started out by only using it in the summer months, but now we use it year round. I decrease the amount in the winter months, but I up it in the spring to keep the maintenance of up now that we got it under control. And it definitely helps our outflows. When we do a lagoon discharge, when we send our samples in, our readings have become much, much better. Our ammonia, our fecal coliform, nitrogen, suspended solids, it just lowered the numbers, and been very, very happy, you know, on meeting this. We are adjacent to the Alameda Dam, which got built in the early 90s. And of course, it's got to be up to par when we do our discharge, whether it's spring and fall, we meet these standards. And Actizyme has helped meet these standards when we do our lagoon discharge. Now, as I'm done with the town, I'm learning more and more about Actizyme. Actizyme has come out with an LS7 product. I do rotor rooting on my own. I have my own machine, and of course, I was going to the next local town. They got a brand new co-op store, and they do meat cutting in there. And I was going pretty much monthly with my machine trying to unplug this line for them. And I got some LS7 from Actizyme. I sell it on my own because I know it'll help some of these businesses and people out. And I got them on LS7 as we speak. And I started them on the fall in October. And like I said, I was going there every month, even sometimes twice a month. And I haven't had to, this is already March, and I haven't had to go there since I put them on this LS7. And I am talking with the new town foreman here, and I'm getting him going on the LS7 to help cut the grease buildup in the lift. And I mean, normal AZ does do it, but with the LS7 blend, I really do think it'll help even furthermore in the lift station by putting it upstream. Of course, one of the things we do over the years, I did learn by just putting it in the lift station, whether it was AZ blend at the time, you have to put it upstream and get it activated and make its way to the lift station. So try to go a block or two upstream by putting it in is what makes all the difference by getting rid of all that fat. And it also helps clean the line beforehand. And every time you put it in a line, whether it was on Main Street when we, with that butcher shop, All that does make it down to the lift station and helps clean everything to that point. And you have to be on a weekly schedule putting it in. You can't just put it here and there and think it's going to work. I've learned that over the years that, you know, you think you might just be able to put it in, that it has to be used on a schedule, and it does work. It really does. It makes quite a difference and helps maintain everything. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, just shoot, and I'll try and answer what I've learned. I guess everybody, even 35 years being in this field, you're always learning something every day. I love what I did for 35 years. I took a big interest. I started right after high school, and took over being town foreman a year after I started. The foreman at that time retired, and yeah, I had pretty big shoes to fill. And like I said, right up to the day that I retired, you're always learning something with this job, and I enjoy helping any other foreman or is in the field now. Any knowledge that I know or something that I can find out for them.
Alan?
Uh-huh.
We do have a question that came up. Bill Graff asked the question: did you add the ACTZYME to the line in the butcher shop, or did you or add it to the drain outside of the shop? Like, where exactly did you use the product there?
I went up stream. I went to one manhole halfway up the next block upstream and added it in. And I do that on a weekly basis, and especially in the summer months. Of course, in the winter months, it's hard to get it in that line. So what I got the new town foreman now, our new town shop is actually at the end of that line upstream. So he's actually putting it in right in the shop in the winter time.
Oh, directly like in a drain in the shop, or like down the toilet? Where?
Yeah, actually right in the drain, in the shop. Yeah.
Great, great. Oh, here's some more questions. So how long did it take before you really started seeing a difference?
It did take a little while, and like I said, you got to be you got to make sure you're on a stringent schedule, because if you like I said, it only works if you use it. Of course, lots of times with me in a small town, trying to remember, and you get busy doing other stuff, you got to make sure you have a schedule and have it written out on your, I have it on my shop wall. So if I was gone that week, or for some reason, whether it was on a holiday, made sure that whoever else was working, that they were putting it in.
So another question here, which I believe you do have experience with as well, from our discussions together, is did you fail with other products before sticking with this one? Like, how did you go back and forth, or did you go back and forth, and what was your experience there?
Of course, every town is the same. You're always looking at other things, or somebody's sales will come around, and we did try other products, and yeah, we actually fell behind a couple years and got right back with ACTZYME, and to get it nipped in the bud again, to get it up to par. And I actually went out last fall with our town foreman when he was doing the lagoon discharge, and yeah, I'm really impressed with the effluent that was coming out of that line. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. And like I said, for a lagoon that's never been dredged, it's you would never know that it hasn't, because it has, over the 35 years, it's got nothing but better.
That's great. So another question here from Alan. So a friend of yours must be same name, right? So Alan McAllister said, does the butcher shop and other businesses have grease traps?
Yes, they do. And that's where the LS7 it really comes good. I got the butcher shops using this LS7 because they were having issues in their grease traps. And like I said, I was going to the next door town with my rotor machine, cleaning out this line from their meat room going out, like I said, on a monthly basis. And I got them on a program using LS7, and it's made it tremendous. Like they're really impressed.
Okay, great. Well, thanks,
I mean,
Alan. Appreciate it.
it hasn't been good for my rotor business, but it sure has helped. I mean, you want to see things running good for them. Nothing's worse than then they're in the middle of something and it's plugged up. And of course, you're running there, and sometimes the calls come at the most inopportune times. But putting them on this program with using LS7 has made a tremendous difference.